Hi, and welcome back to Nadya's Identity Files. I have with me Miss Shotley, aka Charlie Brown.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. Are you excited?
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Well, I know you have a lot to say about identity, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Uh-oh. It's all going to break loose in just a few seconds. But, okay, so before we go into our identity spiel or identity questions, can you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do and, what keeps you busy?
Well, my name is Shotley Brown. I am a student at Antioch University. I'll say activist, but I feel like I fight for injustice for anything when it comes up, mainly around housing, underrepresentation of the Black community, just standing up for yourself and just, fighting for what's right. That's it.
I love it. And that's super important, and there need to be more people out there like you. So heed Miss Brown right here, okay? So, going into identity, identity is such a loaded word, and I think it's so loaded, obviously, that I created an entire show to explore identity. It's just like, it's something that we can go on and on and on because we all have something unique to say about it. Can you talk a little bit about your identity? How do you define it, or identities? Is that it's probably too hard to kind of parse out in just one answer, I would think, huh?
Yeah, you know what? I think that for me, identity is so fluid and it changes. And I heard this little quote about maybe 4 years back where, people walk in on different chapters of your life, so they don't see the whole book.
Right.
So when they walk in, you don't understand or see what the person may have been going through, but you can understand that at that moment they are putting out their best identity, or putting out what they want the world to see. So for me, my identity, I make a joke about it. I'm fat, I'm Black, and I'm broke. You can't take those things away from me, and I own those things right now at this moment. But in my identity, I'm a woman, I am an activist, I am a person that stands up for what is right. Not necessarily what is right for everybody, whatever is right for anybody, and whatever they see what happens with themselves. Let's get to that, and that's of the core of me, of being a human, because I think that we all have our own wavelength. We do the things that we need to do, and people shall honor that, whatever it may be.
Right. So, when we talk about your activism, you're very involved specifically with fighting for transitional housing. How central is this area of activism to your identity, and where does it come from?
I lived in transitional sober living houses for 3 years, and I have to say, not for the marker of having an addiction or I was there mainly because there was stuff going on, mainly around what's going on now, the housing crisis. But as a qualifying as an addict and everything, I am an addict. But I needed a home. I needed a community. I needed somewhere to lay my head. And where that came about of 3 years ago and now, it still was that driving force for me, activism to help people say, you need a home to where you can make your umbrella of what you need to do. And the last house that I live in, I really realized that, it has a lot to do with coming together and getting people to a place where they feel safe and comfortable. That is something that is so important to me, and that is the only reason why I can call myself an activism and be an activist, because it's important that people have a safe place to be, to where they can grow and feel vulnerable and live in their life. So,
right,
my transitional housing experience was that I think it was a pivotal point in my life. It was something that I will never say that I regret. I learned so much from it, but it can be transitional, and it can be something that people want to live in for the rest of their life, but also make it your own. Make it your own. There's a lot of things that happen between, a lot of corruption that you and I saw together. But
oh yeah,
make it your own, to where your experience comes out as you did the best that you could. And I think that's what I did.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you for sure did. And I think dealing with an issue like displacement, not having a real place to call home, I mean, that can really do a number on your identity.
Yes, it can.
So
it can make you see a lot of things about yourself that you don't want to see. Not necessarily saying those things are bad, but it's survival mode. It's always staying in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, chances are you're not getting 100% of yourself daily.
Right, because you're in that fight or flight type of mentality. You have to if you're in that survival mode. I mean, what other choice do you have?
Right.
And do you think that because of that, that's why some people have so many issues transitioning out of the transitional housing situation? Because, they're finally found a place to stay? Or do you think that it's something deeper than that, or something related to the corruption of whole...
Oh, yeah, definitely. The corruption, the management, and how the environment is set. It's not set for people to leave. It's not set for people to grow. And I'm talking about the ones that are standalone, that have people paying out of pocket, and people that are paying their way from, on the system, on welfare and everything like that this is all they have to hold on to a month, and there's people coming in taking that.
Right.
And so when you automatically have that going on, there is a give and take that's not being affordable or being reciprocated as growth. And what happens with that is that it keeps a person there, because there's these empty promises. Oh, well, I'm going to help you with services.
Right.
Oh, well, I'm going to help you with this. And that person...
And people are clinging on
to it so much that they're hoping that somebody can help them.
Right.
And really it comes about looking at yourself and helping yourself and reaching out. Once you help yourself, reach out, and don't be afraid to hear no, because you'll hear no a lot before you hear yes.
Ain't that the truth? In almost every capacity of your life, people, that is the flat out damn near truth. Yes,
you only need one yes.
So, I mean, obviously you've dealt with a lot of external forces, the transitional living situation included, that have attributed to how you flesh out, how you feel out, and display your identity. Do you feel like sometimes you still can't fully express your identity in the way that you want? And can you talk about why that is, maybe in reference to outside societal forces?
That's a loaded question.
That is a loaded question. I'm sorry. But you knew it was coming. So.
You know what? It is hard to represent yourself in the best light. When you stand, and I say that from external forces that are trying to keep you down, like, I could not for the life of me understand why the management in these sober living places would be bullying, harassing me, call the police on me, and all this stuff, when all I wanted to do was say I have a right to be here. And then my identity showed. I don't think I'm this extra revolutionary, extraordinary person. I just think I'm a person that believes in human rights, and we have a human right to a home of your choosing, on how it looks for you. And that, to me, is more important than labeling and trying to get over on somebody, trying to put your crap on somebody else in order not to have that person have their own. So I hope I answered that in the best way.
Everything that you're saying is in the best way.
Okay.
But, speaking of rights and housing, are you aware there are a couple of local measures on the election ballot that relate to homelessness alleviation as well as housing?
Yes, there is.
But you've chosen not to vote today, right?
Yeah. I'm still in consideration of the propositions HHH, and I think it's JJJ too.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I'm in still consideration of voting for propositions only. As far as the presidential candidates, no. I believe locally that there can be a lot of change happening locally. The proposition HHH, from what I have researched, and I hope to hear any of the contrary if I you misstate this in any way, I would love to. I would love to be full-heartedly into it, but I will vote yes for it because it's going to bring some kind of form of housing through the property taxes of, homeowners and all this stuff and whatever else funding that comes through. But it doesn't, to me, it redesigned homelessness. It's looking at the chronically homeless, and that is a scale that's being made by the city and county. And,
Right.
homelessness is homelessness, no matter length of time.
Right.
It's homelessness,
I
so
agree.
it needs to be opened up.
The conversation needs to be opened up around homelessness. I mean, it's a very complex issue. Real quick before we move into our conversation regarding identity and election, just a roundtable discussion. And if there's time, which I'm thinking you guys, there might not be for the on-air social media consult, but that'll hook you up with that regardless, so it's all good. And so Brad would get the hookup as well. But it's election day, so it's kind of a special day, so we really want to keep it focused on that. What projects, activities can we look out for from you in the near future? So just kind of throw that out there before we transition to our next segment.
I'm leaping into my own community support group, and it's for people that are in transition. And please understand that it's not just transition of a transitional housing or sober living. It's for people that are in transition that don't have a safe place to vent their frustrations, their wants, their desires, but come up and be face to face with people that say, I know what you're going through. I'm having similar things, and I just named it yesterday. I'm so excited. It's called Worthy of a Home.
Worthy of a Home. I could not think of a better name. Thank you so much. That is beautiful. Everybody follow Shadoli on social media, and that way you can stay up to date with her efforts with activism.
Yeah.
And all of the great things that she's up to, and we will be right back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.